We'll get started here in 1 minute. All right, so we are here on Funnel Friday. We're going to still striving to make this a 30-minute meeting, but if it's an hour, we're all good with that. We're just trying to add value. Been talk with James and Braden about that. We have we had Michelle Young, who had a closing about 2 to 3 weeks ago, right before she went to Jamaica. So talked to her recently, and she was on her way to Jamaica, and said I could not go. Well, what'd she say? About 90 people, family reunion in Jamaica. And I said, hey, I'm family. And she told me to fit in where you get in. And I said, I fit in with you and your family in Jamaica. But unfortunately, I didn't get to make my new family trip with those folks. But she did have a closing, and it was either 420 or 460. She had a meeting right before this meeting, so we're not sure if she can hop on. We're also going to talk briefly to Sharon Bicknell and get an update from her. What we're trying to do on these Zooms is add value, give you some education, but also talk to someone who is having closings. So the goal, I'm a bottom line kind of guy, and results oriented, and looking for results, which are closings. So, I know to get to a closing, you have to have a buyer agreement signed. You have to have a buyer in the process. Somewhat interested in that. And that's all part of the process, but we're going to try to hyper focus on closings. How did you get that closing? Where did they come from? What part of the process, can you share and help with the group? I was on a really strong call this week with a friend of James Braden of mine, or gentleman we known for a long time, Jeff Kiani. And Jeff was real helpful on part of the process with me, with understanding that I don't want to be too, I don't want to, on figuring out if it go from engage to nurture for me in my part of the process, and everybody should be pretty close to the same, but what I want to do is not be too pushy on the agreed upon follow-up. I want to ask them if they're willing to follow up with me without tricking them into an answer or getting them to give me a false answer. So that and willing to meet is something else that in the past I've kind of encouraged them or coerced them. Or I had a guy teach me once, hey, you'll never have someone not show up on an appointment. And this was kind of ridiculous, but you have to understand this point. He said, here's how you have people not ever no-show for you again. And I'm like, yeah. And he said, offer them an ounce of pure gold, an ounce gold bar. And I said, well, that's kind of ridiculous. But his point was, if I had enough value to the appointment or to the client, they will not no show on you, right? So like I don't hand out ounces of gold bars, but it did let me understand that if I make better offers, add more value, make better offers, then you can have higher conversion rates. So some of that played into that. And Michelle Young did make it. Thank you, Michelle, for getting out of your 1 o'clock meeting or having that end in time for this meeting. That's awesome. We'll just be brief and have Braden ask. Let's see, is she still there? I saw her. Yes, she's there. Hey, Michelle, thank you so much. So, Braden, you want to just, since you helped Michelle with the whole thing, right, with her marketing, and maybe touch on that, Braden, like the marketing homework, and then the build out, and then the 3 or 7 day call, 30-day call, and then we'll talk a little bit about her closing. But take it away, Braden. Oh, yep, got recorded.
I'm trying to get to the point where can we make her the co-host and have her sign in or share her screen?
So, I'm not sure if James can do that or we'll need Kathleen to do it.
Why is this not working?
Who do you need?
Let her share the screen. And then Michelle, if you want to pull up Facebook and then
you can share.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we just threw this on.
I,
So we appreciate
I tapped in on my phone.
yeah, you're gonna have to be on a computer to be able to share your screen, I believe.
Yeah. She just got out of another meeting, got in, we kind of coerced her here to get back from Jamaica and hop on here as she's getting putting out fires from her trip.
Maybe next time I can do all the sharing, but can they hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Are we not going to be able to share the screen?
We'll have to do that next Friday. I
No,
didn't prep her on that, so I'll take that 100-0 on that one.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, what exactly do we want to cover then? If we can't look at cost per lead, can't look at KB core. What exactly do we want to
Yeah.
get into?
Well, we'll be a little bit brief this Friday, and we'll just talk to her a little bit talk to Michelle a little, or Michelle, you want to share a little bit about why don't we do this? Why don't you share a little bit about the process, how it went for you, what you liked, and tell us a little bit about the closing you had.
Okay. So, great. So Dan introduced me to this amazing group of marketing geniuses that went in and set up an ad for me in Facebook. And I probably have more than 350 leads. At first, I was getting quite a few every day. It kind of tailed off a little bit here lately, but I have quite a few leads. A few were ready to go. I've met with probably a dozen of them. I will say that, in the last 3 weeks, I really have not worked my leads that great. I've been sharing them with other people because I've had so much on my plate. One of them is because one of the clients that I got from my new construction lead was actually a couple that was moving here from New Jersey, and they were tapped into doing a House Hunters episode. So I just got done filming a House Hunter HGTV episode with them right before I went to Jamaica, and I did close with them right before I left. So,
Nice.
so it's been great. I'm going to add that to my social media when it finally airs. But I have them. I've got a few more that are going to be coming up really soon. A few that I had to work on some finances with them to get them in a position, but I've really had great success from these ads.
Well, wait a minute now. So the lead that you got through the new construction funnel is the buyer that you had do the HGTV home hunter section show with you?
Yes. Now
How cool is that?
that's really cool. So they did not buy new construction. They bought a resale that needed a little bit of fixing because they wanted a pool and everything. I mean, I'm probably giving away too much. Shut up, Michelle. So anyway,
So we got to watch the show, right?
yeah, you got to watch the show. It's not going to air for about 5 months. They still got to edit it and everything, but they are all closed and really happy with their purchase. And they found me through the ad.
And what price point?
$450.
450. So let's see. That should pay
That's
for
what.
about a year and a half of leads.
Yeah, that's one thing to mention, guys, is that, a lot of times, I wouldn't say maybe not a lot of times, but a good portion of the time, they're going to be open to resell as well. So if there's anybody on here that thinks maybe, hey, I really just don't want to work new construction for whatever reason that may be, or I really don't want to have to feel like I'm forced into the new construction side of things. A lot of these buyers that come in, like I said, a good portion are open to resell as well if it makes sense. It just seems to be that it's a little more enticing to go new construction these days, just with all the different incentives that they're offering and, closing costs or getting your rate bought down or a lower interest rate, whatever it may be. So if that's anybody's kind of belief or perspective around why they wouldn't want to do this, here's a good example of somebody that came in and was open to resell and was able to get a deal done that way. Really, I think the most logical perspective that you could have against maybe new construction is the time frame on how long it may take to get a commission check, right? Well, I don't really want to be working deals that take 9 months, 6 to 9 months to complete. Two things, right? One, what we just explained here, which is there are going to be buyers that come in that are open to resell. Two, a lot of times, these new construction communities, these builders have move-in ready. So, two options there to kind of get you away from what we call a long-term cash conversion cycle, if that's something that you might be kind of contemplating.
The 450 though, and that was that
And I
new
will
you?
say the new construction,
Sorry, go ahead. I probably have a lagging. I'm in Panama City Beach.
yes, that that I have taken clients, they are,
You're breaking up,
you
Michelle.
know, that's where the bills are with the standing inventory.
Yeah, you were breaking up there, Michelle.
Mhm.
Can hear you.
Okay, not sure what the problem was, but I will say that most of the communities that are offering new construction have several floor plans of standing inventory, so that's not been a problem. And the standing inventory is where most of the great deals are.
Yeah, the incentives for sure. When I do my neighborhood videos, I'm seeing a lot of the incentives for the move-in ready homes are, kind of ridiculous. I was in a neighborhood recently in Metro Atlanta, 30,000 lot premium waiver, 15,000 any way you want it, and I think it's 5.99 interest rate. So I was like, wow. But that was, if you're building in that neighborhood, it wasn't. I think it was just the 15K. You didn't get the premium and the other incentives. So did you have to go far for that deal, Michelle? Or was that, I know you're, was
Not
that
at all.
close to
It was
you?
close. It was very
Yeah, so,
close.
yeah, that's another thing. It's not always the case with these new construction ads, but a lot of times, wherever you're running, whatever city you're running in, a lot of times where you sell in. And then, yeah, that's my experience too. They click on the new construction, but sometimes they buy resale. And, that's one of the questions, right, Braden? The automated question that you get, that I get the most text from, is, are you open to resale? I mean, new construction. Are you
Or
looking at new
resale.
construction, resale, or both? And then a lot of
It
times
said, I think the text verbatim goes, "Are you only interested in new construction, or are you open to resale as well?" And like I said, a good portion of the time they are open to resale, guys. But what you really got to understand is that when you understand and put yourself in the shoes of a buyer in today's market and understand that their perception is probably, a big one that you'll run into, I assume. I'm not in production, but I just kind of have some common sense with this, is what I would expect is that a perspective that a buyer has right now in the market is that the interest rates are too high, obviously, right? So, if you're able to position this in a way where you have a solution for them to be able to get into a property with a lower interest rate. And so one of the texts that we actually send out, I recommend sending this out about not this same text over and over again, but doing it every about 2 to 3 weeks. And I'll explain this real quick. What it is, let's say our first month we run this ad, and we get 2 to 3 weeks into it. You're going to have a good amount of leads. Maybe I'm not going to say 3/4, maybe a little less than that, but you'll have a good portion of these leads that you haven't made contact with yet for several different reasons. And I'm just being transparent with you guys on kind of what's reality here. Several reasons. Some of these reasons are they don't want to talk with an agent yet because they may be 6 months out to a year. Some of these reasons may be due to the fact that it's a bad number, or it's a landline, or whatever the case may be. But when you're able to send out a text, which is what I recommend doing about in the first 2 to 3 weeks, to all of the leads that we've yet to get a response from, right? Because if we understand the conversion process, I've made contact with the lead. That lead, I know their specific criteria. I know their task. I have a task set with them on when their time frame is. So that's an active lead, right? The other disposition would be a prospect sending out a text that says, "Hey, if I was able to help you get an interest rate under 6%, or I was able to help you get an interest rate under 5% when purchasing a new home, would you be interested in seeing how that's possible?" That is a good text to send out to stir up some conversation with these leads. And I do that about every 2 to 3 weeks. We'll send something out. And this is another reason why I don't believe in long-term drip campaigns, right? A lot of agents want to put something in. Oh, this leads in a 3 to 6 month time frame. Let's put some type of drip in place. No, we don't want to do that. What this does is one, it makes you stay kind of true to the system that you actually have to come into your system and put a text together and select all the leads that are a prospect status, which would mean that you would have had to been dispositioning these leads as prospects. So kind of keeping you true to the system, but it allows you also to be specific with what you say, meaning who knows? It could be an interest rate type of situation. It could be a new incentive that came out. Maybe it was closing costs. Maybe it was something that when we built the ad, let's say 3 months ago or a month ago or whenever it was, that incentive wasn't released, but you just found out it was. And so now you're able to put a customized text specific to what I say is currently going on in the market, right? Where you can send that text out to stir up some conversation from some of these leads that you've yet to be in touch with, and get some conversation going. So that's another thing to mention there.
Brighton, excuse me. Isn't it also good for the lenders who are coming in to help support, financially, that they can also get some business too, because new construction wants to use their own lenders, right?
Couple things. Let's talk about this. First off, I'm just going to be honest. If I'm a lender, I'm probably not partnering with an agent on a new construction ad. Okay. And the reason for that is because and this just goes back to my experience when I was selling real estate. I did a lot of new construction. I don't know how many times we took an application with my preferred lender, Rob, get almost to underwriting, and they get talked into using the lender with the builder because they offered some type of incentive or something. And my lender gets kicked out of the deal. He got to the point where he was like, dude, don't send them to me. I don't even want to take a nap on them, So that's one thing, And so the solution or alternative to what you can do if you're in a situation where A, you need the lender to financially help out, or B, you just want a lender to financially help out, which I think is a good idea, is to run something like the just listed ad. That's going to be speaking directly to those motivated buyers that want to see what has recently been listed, that they feel like they haven't seen yet. We would then use a resale image as opposed to doing anything centered around new construction. And so that brings in more of a resale type of buyer, where you would, the expectation on that is that, not to say that they wouldn't be open to new construction, right? But there's a good chance that they're probably more likely to want to go resell as opposed to new construction. And so that would be kind of the solution of what I would suggest, if you have a lender involved or planning to get a lender involved, is running that ad. And be honest with you, it performs pretty close to the same cost per lead. I would say that you might run into a lower percentage of buyers that have a listing that they need to sell. And we can kind of manipulate that a little bit with the price point of the image we use. So if we did do just listed, we might bump up a couple $100,000 or $300,000 above the average, kind of dependent. But the reason for that is because with just listed on the resale side of things, you may be bringing in a lot of first-time home buyers. So if we're trying to get more so those, it's kind of like with new construction, there's already the perception that, hey, that price range is kind of a second move up, right? They may already have a property that they need to sell. Where with resale, they could be first-time home buyers and not have that property that they need to sell first. And so the only way to kind of manipulate that is to increase the price point of the image that we're using in the ad, to kind of steer away some of those first-time home buyers. But then again, if you're open to first-time home buyers, you can do that too. So that would be my answer to that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. I don't want the first-time home buyers. I want the ones who are moving from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, what you do there in that situation is, let's just say for the area, let's just say for Dallas, Fort Worth area, for me around here, let's say our average is 400,000. I may want to run an image that's 600 to 7, 200,000 or 300,000 above the average price point as a whole, to try to make sure that I'm steering away some of those first-time home buyers. Because, if I'm in the market for a Lamborghini, I'm not coming in here clicking on ads that got, a Silverado pickup truck, right? So, that's kind of my principle or theory on that is, just increase the price point of the home. The problem you may run into that is that cost per lead may creep up a hair, the higher you go. So it's kind of like trying to find that sweet spot of, where is the price point or because it's all about perceived value when you look at the image, right? Because we don't tell anybody what the property's worth or what it's listed at or whatever. So, it's a perceived value. And so it's trying to find that happy medium of we're still marketing to the mass majority, but the mass majority of people that are moving up, and have a property to sell and trying to stay away from the first time home buyers, which can kind of be a tricky thing to do. But if you understand your price points in your market and you understand, what the perceived value of an image looks like or a home looks like in the image, then we can typically nail that.
Hey, before I forget, I want to mention that we do have Levi McDonald does a role play morning call every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 8:30 to 9:30. And then there's another prospecting group I can get you. If you're interested in that, just reach out to me through Workplace, Dan Hilsman, that's his way. Also, let's talk to Sharon Bicknell real quick, because Sharon mentioned to me that I think, Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you said you had 4 listings or 5 listings, but one of the lists from the new construction, but one of the listings was not from the new construction. It was kind of an indirect listing that you picked up. So Sharon's been working the process with Braden for, well, I don't know. Sharon,
Some years.
Been like 3, I think.
Yeah,
It's been like probably she's one of my
yeah,
from the get-go, dang near. I mean,
Yeah, so what I was saying, Dan, was when I was on the call a couple of weeks ago, I had 5 listings and 3 of them were from the new construction campaign. But then I realized later one of them, it wasn't necessarily a lead that came in from the campaign, but it was like an indirect, like I wouldn't have gotten it had I not gotten something, whatever, some activity from it. So it wasn't a client who had their information from as a lead from the campaign, but I was able to get into a particular community because of the campaign. And then that connected me with this buyer. And so I was just looking at my closings last year, and there were like actually 6 of them were that same scenario where it wasn't a lead from the campaign, but it was because I got into a particular community because of the campaign. So really only one of 7 closings was directly new construction, and they actually bought new construction, because that's another thing I want to say too. They don't always buy new construction, but then 6 of them were indirect. And then those were just 7 of however many closings I had last year. But this year, I've had 5 so far from, I guess 4 from the new construction campaign. And then one of them, no, I've had 5 I've had 5 closings this year. 4 of them were directly from the campaign. And then one of them was, like I said, it was kind of like indirect. So
I have a question here, because transparently hearing what you just said could kind of be taken in a way that I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it. We only did 1 deal directly from the ad last year. Okay. Which quite frankly, it worked out in the end because you pulled 6 other deals from it, but that's not really the averages of what we would want to see, right? In terms of, because did we run that for the full year? I believe we did.
I think it was off for a bit. It wasn't the full year, but it was probably most of.
Gotcha. So that's kind of concerning, right? To hear that if I'm an agent, right? If I'm an agent that's sitting on this call thinking about doing this, putting my money up here and spending some money on some ads, that's a little concerning to hear. Oh, we only did 1 deal. Okay, yeah, you did pull 6 other deals. That's okay. That's pretty good. But why did we only close 1 deal? My question to you would be is, what do you think was the difference between last year only doing 1 deal directly from the ad to this year doing however many more you did? Was it
6.
I don't
I've
remember
done
the number.
6 so
6.
far, and then I have
6
a couple
directly.
Yeah.
Right. Do you feel like, and I would venture out to say this, but I don't want to be wrong. Do you feel like that you improved upon following the conversion process, or do you think the ad performed better, or what do you think was the underlying factor here as to why the results directly from the ad were better than they were last year?
I think it's I would say it's more consistency. So like keeping, like Dan told me, even if I'm going on vacation or something, just keep the ad on. Don't turn the ad off. So it's hard to do. It's like I don't want to have this ad running while I'm gone and I can't call people, whatever. But he says, keep it on. So and then consistency with following up. And like one of the closings I had this year, it was actually from the ad 2 years ago. Like I've literally been working with this lady for 2 years. And I never even met her until this year, until I started actually showing her houses. But I had to keep staying in front of her for 2 years. And eventually,
Right.
and I almost even lost her because she's like, oh, well, I was talking to somebody else. And then I like politely reminded her, I've been working with you for 2 years. Like, I don't know what I said, but I said it in a nice way. And then somehow I ended up getting the deal. Probably because she realized, oh, you had been working with me for 2 years. So I think consistency is the thing. So some of these that I have closed this year have come in this year, but some of them came in a year or even 2 years ago. And I also want to say that, we were talking about, new construction or whatever. These, like, none of them bought new construction. Well, actually, most of them were listings. So 3 of my
Yeah.
5, 4, or I've had 5 closings this year from the campaign, and 3 of them were I was the listing agent.
So how many listings do you have right now from the new construction ads?
Well, I closed one of them yesterday, so right now I have 2, and they're both buy, and 2 of them are scheduled. Well, one of them is scheduled to close. It's a buy sell. So on the 20th, I have 2 closings because she's a buyer and a seller, and then the other one is not under contract yet. So I have 2.
Yeah, so you just had 3 the other day, and all 3 were buyers though, and
One
agents right
closed,
now are
yes.
going,
Yeah,
hey,
well, they're closing. Like one closed yesterday.
yeah. Well, agents are going, I want
And then one
listings.
closed
So
2 weeks ago, and he's gonna buy. He just hasn't bought yet, but he's not buying new construction either. He was downsizing, so he's gonna take his money and like buy a cheaper
well,
house.
that's 6 deals though, right? On
Yeah.
those 3 listings and 3 buyers. So soon Sharon will be right at about a deal a month average from the new construction. And then she's also picking up additional deals. Like you told me a while back, well, hey, I got this one listing. It was indirect because I got an ad from new construction, took the listing, did an open house, picked up another listing. And then Sharon and I, we understood that, well, she wouldn't have that other listing if she wasn't running the ad to get the listing, to do the open house, to get the next listing. Right. So that was just a way of another indirect example of, Sharon picking up another deal that's not directly from the ad, but it's indirectly because she wouldn't have the listing without the ad. So, 50-50 is really a strong number for listing buyer ratio right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sharon, is it the same price ad rate from year to year, or do you up it or down it? Yeah.
You mean the home price of the ad I'm running? Is that what you're asking?
Every time you spend money for these ads, right?
The ad spend.
Do you go up year to year or down, or you just
No,
leave it
I
the
actually
same?
just went down. I was at $15 a day, and I just went down to 10 because there's so many leads coming, and I just can't handle them all. I need a VA or something, but I'm trying to manage so many leads in my CRM now from this campaign and staying in contact and staying in front of them, that like all these new ones keep coming in, and it's like so many. I just put it down to 10. And then I got a bunch more today, and I called one guy, and I was on the phone with him for a long time because it seems like a valid, it seems like a valid client. And so I still have more to call because I didn't have time to call him.
And
So
it's
That is something
you're
to.
doing 10%. Most of the time it's, not 10%. Most of the time it's $10 though, that you've been running just.
Yeah, I was started off at
Yeah.
10 and I went up to 15 and then I went back down to 10.
That is something to kind of mention. This is scalable, guys, right? Like this is something where if you want to increase your cost per lead, as long as we can increase agent productivity alongside that, you should be able to scale this. But just like Sharon mentioned, if you can't keep up with it, right? You don't hire VA, you don't hire the roles that need to be put in place to be able to scale with it, which is going to be super dependent on an agent. I mean, depending on how much you want to work and how often you want to be in your system and, how much you want to put into it. But it is something you can scale, but the right pieces at some point, there does come a limit, right? There does come a limit, excuse me, of where an agent really just can't keep up any longer, and those pieces have to be put in place. And typically, in my suggestion, it's putting the VA. That would be a more of a what I would call a CRM manager than anything, because all of they're going to be doing is shutting down campaigns, responding to text messages, setting up search alerts, setting tasks, things of that nature. They should never really be on the phone with the leads, as they probably are not going to be very knowledgeable of the market or as knowledgeable as you, and probably don't possess the skill set you do. What I typically see, if they did, they'd probably be making real estate money and not VA money, right?
They
So
could make
um,
appointments, right? I mean, they could call and make appointments with me.
I don't suggest it. You will see a dip in your conversion rate if you put a VA on the phone. It's inevitable. Now, like I said, there comes a point where you may have to get to that. If you really can't keep up. But I don't think I mean, out of all of the dollar producing activities an agent could focus on in the day, there's not one that's better than an agent picking up a phone that had a lead that has responded to a text or some type of engagement where you're calling to solidify and cultivate that relationship. In my opinion, I don't care if that's an hour a day or 3 hours a day or however much you want to invest into that. That should never go away as a producing agent, in my opinion. I don't think you should ever. But like I said, what you can put in place is somebody that's a CRM manager, meaning, you have somebody that is either shutting the campaign down or responding to text or asking what criteria is, asking what time frame is through text and all of that. But a lot of times, if you try to get them on the phone, you're going to see that conversion rate go down, and that's why I don't recommend that.
It doesn't seem like that though. It's because of the auto texting, like that. It's already managed through the auto texting, so I don't even know why I would need somebody to manage it, because.
Well, then the question I would ask you is, why did you bump your ad spend down? That'll be the answer right there. If you can't keep up, too many leads coming.
I guess
you can't
because
manage
I
that many leads,
started,
right? So
because most of this time, like for the last, couple, 2-3 years that we've been doing this, I wasn't really calling the new ones. I was only calling the ones that responded to my texts. And then recently,
right.
I guess somehow I had it in my head, whatever. I started, like when they come in, I've just been calling them before they even get their first email. So maybe that's my fault. Maybe I should just like keep letting the system do its thing and not even calling.
No, you should call them right. You should call them right away. We can
No, the conversion, the best practices calls for, let the 2-minute text go off, let the 3-minute email roll out. If we don't like this is how I look at it. We've got a 2-minute text. Okay, lead comes in, and think about it, guys. So lead sees the ad, lead goes through the form, lead gets redirected to a squeeze page where they're looking at properties. Okay, I don't want to text them right away, right? I want them to consume some properties first. So then 2 minutes goes by. They're scrolling through, looking at some properties. They get a text. Do they respond to the text? Great. If they do, if they don't, okay. We've got a 3-minute email. A minute later, boom, they get an email. If we don't get a response from either of those within 5 minutes, that is still the best time to pick up the phone and call that lead, because they more than likely still have that phone in their hand. Anything outside of that is not. You'll just see percentage go down of contact rate. So that's best case scenario. Although I know that that's not always feasible, right? That's not always going to happen. I mean, you're out in the field, you're doing things, you got other things going on. But if you were to try to be perfect, that's how you would want to do it.
Hey, one thing I want to point out real quick here too, another indirect way that, and Sharon, I think you'll be okay with me, I won't get too personal, but another indirect way that Sharon's making many thousands of dollars more per year is because this has also helped her cap quick, right? So the deals that she talked about, she's doing her own personal deals, her Sphere and other deals besides the new construction deals. So now that she's doing that, like she's capped for this year. And so any personal deal that she does, she's on 100%. Whereas if she wasn't doing the new construction, she wasn't capped yet, her income would be way lower, but also her next personal deal would be 80% instead of 100%, right? So there's also big benefits to having more income by capping quicker through this program. Even if it's just a few deals here, if you got you to cap quicker and then you did a few more deals, That's an extra 20% on however many deals that is, which can, translate to many hundreds or many thousands of dollars. So that part of this process is really good too. And I kind of realized that once I was talking to a lady and she's talking about helping agents icon quicker and with her Zillow program. And I thought, well, I don't know about all that, but, then I talked to an icon guy on her Zillow team and he said, yeah, I like the fact that it does help me to icon and get my stock rewards back quicker being on her Zillow team. And it also helps him to cap quicker. So his Zillow, I don't know, this isn't about Zillow. It's just about the concept of getting to a higher income amount per year cap and per the percentage. So just wanted to point that out. Didn't want that to get missed.
So I have a question for Braden. So did you say they're supposed to get a text in how many minutes after they click on the ad? 3 minutes?
2 minutes. 2 minutes. There's a 2-minute text that goes off.
Oh, okay. Because I think mine is more like 2 hours. So is that something that we need to correct?
I'm just going to throw this out there because this is the only thing that I remember. There was a point at time where we edited yours to a further out text against my recommendation. I don't remember exactly the reason why we did that. But and I think I do now because there was a point in time where we had a 2-minute text and then a 2-hour text. Do you remember that? Where there was 2 texts within the first day and then
Yeah.
KV Core got upset with us about, or not upset with us. They just took the functionality away of sending more than 1 text within the first day. And we had come to an agreement to remove that initial text and just leave the 2-hour text. I don't think I don't think that should be the way it should be. At least if I did say it then, I'm changing my mind now.
All right, let me
But yeah. Share your screen. We can look at it right now. I'll fix it.
Oh, okay.
Can we make her the co-host or whatever we need to do to let her share her screen, please?
So like this one came in 14 a.m. on the 7th.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna request remote control access.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
If you'll prove that, okay, sweet. So let's look at the campaign first and see what that says. So smart campaign. Do you know? Shouldn't be too many different ones in here. Which one it is? Are we running Buford or Jefferson?
It's Jefferson.
Okay. So email text. So this one right here is a 2-minute. This is the one. This should be in instead of hours, 2 minutes. We're gonna change this to. That's fixed. That's all we needed to do there. So 2-minute text, then we see 3-minute email, then 1 day, 1 day, 2 day, 2 day, 3 day. Now hold on, what do we have down here? This needs to be just labeled wrong. My OCD kicking hand, guys. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Cool. So you're good to go. That should no longer that should kick in 2 minutes as opposed
They're
to
getting 1 text a day for 4 days in a row.
1 text a day. Yes, ma'am.
But you're saying when it comes in, I should call them right away, or I should call them after the first text?
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Let the text go off.
Okay.
Let the email go off, and then give them a call.
Okay.
I mean, give them a minute after that email. Like between 4 and 5. Like think of it: 2-minute text, 3-minute email, 4 minutes in between that, and 5 minutes is kind of where I would probably make the call.
Okay.
Now that's super specific, right? If we really think about it, but that's about that time is when you would want to do that.
Yeah, because some of them come in the middle of the night and all that.
Like those are, like I said, guys, like that's hard to you know, you're not probably going to be able to do that. But you know, if you're sitting there looking at your phone and one comes in, it's like, okay, all right, 2 minute text. Oh, the text went off. Oh, the email went off. Okay, great. Here, give me a second. All right, pick up the phone call.
Set the alarm on your phone to ring in like 5 minutes.
Right. Right.
That's what I
All
did.
right. Anyone else have any other questions? And Michelle, I'll get with you and see if you can hop on next week, and I'll give you. I'll do my job a little better and give you notice, and so we can have a screen share with Michelle Young. But Michelle,
Time out.
I'll reach out to you early in the week.
Michelle, I think we spoke. Was that last week we talked before you went to Jamaica? Or where, is that where she traveled to? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Or yeah. We just I think we had kind of came to a conclusion that we wanted to jump on and check out the ad before we kicked it back on, and then make sure we have everything dispositioned and cleaned up before we do that. What I would like
Exactly.
to do is get that booked for, say, Monday or Tuesday early on in the week, so we can make sure we get all that done, and then maybe do like another good review, kind of what we've seen over that first week again when we kicked it back on Friday, if that works for you.
I am, so I'm going to be out of town from the 16th to the 20th. So
Okay.
I'll book something to meet with you, and then we
Okay.
can do all that, the follow-up
Sweet.
afterwards.
Okay, sounds good. Perfect. Are you planning on running that the 16th through the 20th while you're out of town, or no?
I was going to turn it on the 20th, probably as I come back.
Perfect. Okay. All right. That sounds good. Sounds good to me.
All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up for this Friday.
Yes, I have a question. So is the ad more a Facebook ad? And if so, I actually have a couple of guests on the call. They are with my Fast Cab group, and they're interested, and they want information on what it would take for them to get this program.
Okay, first of
Are they
all,
with EXP?
let me say this real
Yes.
quick. Rose, I'm a big fan of yours. So I saw you recently on a Zoom, and you were talking about how you're just, my word's not yours, but you're going above and beyond to help agents with production and doing that selflessly. And so I have you on my list to reach out and thank you, but what better, I thought I'd do it somewhat publicly here instead, but I'll still put you on my list to reach out to. But just thank you for your mindset, for what you're doing to help agents. And I just really enjoyed hearing you on that Zoom. I guess it was last week, but yeah, Braden, I'll let you answer the other questions. Didn't want to let Rose
Thank
get
you
off
so
without
much,
me
sir. I appreciate it. Thank
Hey,
you.
reach
Thank
out
you.
to me
Thank you.
too. I'm Dan
Yes,
Hilsman.
sir.
Reach out to me. Yeah, we'll collaborate a little together. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So to answer the question, primarily, well, you know, the ad can be ran on Facebook and Instagram. There's really only, it's kind of conditional on age demographic of a market. What I typically say is that if you have a mixed demographic, let's run it on Facebook and Instagram. If I had an agent that comes in here, they're a young cat, and maybe they want to do some townhouse stuff or some condo stuff like downtown Dallas, maybe we only stick to maybe the younger demographic type platform, which would be Instagram. Maybe I have an agent that comes in that wants to work in the older age demographic. Maybe we're doing some 55 plus community stuff or something like that, which is not, I mean, these are like more specific strategies. And then we would run only on Facebook. In most cases, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be, we're running on both because we're looking at a mixed demographic market, age demographic. If that answers your question. You're muted.
Ladies, is that good for you? I guess it is. They're not saying anything. They may be shy.
I just want to make sure I answered the question. If not, I can maybe have it asked again in a different way and we could go from there. Nope. Okay. All right. Well, anything else, guys?
I think it's a wrap, man.
Anything
It's a
else?
wrap. All right. Appreciate everybody hopping on every Friday, 1:30. You can invite guests to this meeting. It's for people that want to sell production. We're trying not to just sitting around talking about random stuff. We're trying to get super specific, answer specific questions, have specific results, and share those results. And we'll continue to either highlight agents' testimonials, or we're going to continue to work on the process, because it's a process. So if we don't have agents that we want to, some week, maybe we'll just drill down on part of the process, because that's a continuous process of learning, getting better. I learned something. Like, I've been doing this internet leads for, I don't know, 15 years. And this week I learned, had a really couple of good tips, little tiny nugget, right? So I'm going to take that little tool, I'm going to put it in my tool belt. I'm a little bit better from what I learned earlier this week about the process than I was last week. So continue, if that can happen to me after 15 years, and if somebody's been doing it longer, it's not about the 15 years, but it is about continuing to get better, understand the process, and commit to it and work on it. So it can be a big deal for your business. I mean, what if just one extra deal a month, could be a big deal. So anyone have any James, you have any final thoughts before we get off here? I want to recognize our co-host
Nah,
here,
man.
James Mouse.
I'm just grateful everybody's doing the work. I mean, these things only work because people are making phone calls from actually doing the funnels, which gives Braden an ability to actually go into detail exactly what the best practices are. So we know they work as long as you work them. So if you keep doing the work, keep showing up, we're gonna make sure you get to closes.
Yep. Sharon's a great example of that. Sharon had a little tiny bit of a success maybe in the beginning. Maybe it took a little while. And then she had a little bit more and a little bit more. And she's right there on the cusp of a breakthrough with these 3 listings that have 3 buyers and whatever, 5 deals already this year. And then that'll get you really close to that 1 a month. And from there, you'll start seeing more and more compound effect. So it is a little bit of a snowball effect with this as well.
And 2 of the closings that I've had this year from the campaign, they were repeat business from the campaign. So
how long? You've only been doing it like on and off 2 years, maybe a year?
yeah, but like one lady, they had bought a condo last year,
Mhm.
and it hadn't even been a year yet, and they, he got transferred, and so they're moving to Germany. So that's the one that closed yesterday. And then the other one, I mean, was a couple of years ago, he clicked on my new construction ad, and and he was working with somebody, but he liked me better. So I was able to help him buy. And it was actually not new construction. The house was like maybe 9 months old or something, because the people had to sell it. The same thing, like got transferred or something. But then he had a 30-acre farm to sell. And so he came back to me and he sold that this year. So that was one of my closings this year, was actually a repeat business from the new construction campaign from 2 years ago.
That's awesome. Well, and KB Core makes that a little bit easier to happen than some of the other CRMs. Hey, I appreciate that, Sharon. Braden, you have any final thoughts for us?
What were I'm curious, Sharon, what was your numbers one more time, just so I can have those? Transaction wise?
It was 7 in 23, and then so far 5 this year. But I have on a week from Tuesday, I have a buy sell, so that's 2 more, so 7. Plus I have a listing. So once that sells, it'll be 9, because he's buying as well. So
9.
5 closed, and then a week from Tuesday, make that 7. And then once I get my listing sold and he buys, it'll be 9.
And how much money you spending a year on this? Like 15 grand or something?
Not even that much, right?
No.
So you're spending about 3,500. So those are insane.
3,600.
Yeah.
What is that? 3,600. I mean, 9 deals. Let's just average that. Let's call it 400,000. I mean, maybe 500,000. I don't know. What would that be?
I would say
What do you think
4,
your average is? Let's
some
just
of them are higher, and some of them, like, it's gone up as high as 630, but then one of them was like 150, and yesterday it was 229. So there's some lower ones, but like the average, most of them are like, I would say like the average would be 400-ish.
Let's on a conservative side of things. On the conservative side of things, that puts us at about 108 grand before our split, right? At 9 transaction, guys. So $3,600 investment on ad spend gets you paid out 108 before your split. So if you were just to minus your 20%, if you didn't cap, still 86 grand that you made from this, and then of course taxes and all that good stuff. But we're not going to get into that. But
Yeah, definitely worth it.
pretty
You just gotta
ridiculous.
talk, you just gotta stay on it and be consistent and call, and like don't just call them one time, but just keep calling and then keep a relationship with them, like keep staying in front of them before
Sharon's
they
working the
find somebody
process
else.
though. Yeah, I'll let everybody know. Sharon's really working the process. She's not just calling. I mean, she has campaigns, automation, the property alert set up. The people are being disposed of like they should be. So it's but you didn't learn that in 1 week, right, Sharon?
Correct. It's definitely a process, but
Yeah.
it's worth it. I mean, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
If it was me, guys, and there should really be, to be honest with you, and this is just me giving my peace of mind for those that care to listen. If it was me and I was looking at this and I wasn't doing it yet and I was on the fence, understanding that there's not a cost investment in terms of getting it set up where there typically would be, where we typically charge agents that are not in this group $19.97 just to get set up. And the only thing that I had to do was either A, come up with $300, or B, talk to a lender and get them to go half with me, $150. I think that would be the number one thing I would be focused on if I didn't have any deals in the pipeline and I didn't have anything working for me currently. Is how do I come up with $150 or $300 to get this rolling? Because it doesn't cost you anything to get it set up. So that's my opinion. You hear the results. You hear the agents that are following the process. They're having the success. You may have talked to some agents that aren't following the process and not having success, but again, they're not following the process. So that's my standpoint on it, guys. We want to help you. We want to help you do more deals. But at the end of the day, you got to take initiative, get your strategy call booked, get a funnel up and going. So,
yep. Well, wrap it up with that. It is great for lenders too. I was a lender for 10 years. If I was still just a lender full time, I would totally buy into that because it's a great lead source. You won't get them all, of course, but also you'll get a few. The lender also can pick up a few deals that'll be a refinance, and then if they continue to work their database, they can be multiple deals for the lender for down the road refinance and referrals as well. So, hey, Braden, Kinder, we appreciate you. James Massey, thank you so much, and y'all have a great Friday, great weekend. Come see y'all next Friday at 1:30.
Hey, Dan, real quick.
hi, guys.
Yeah.
Can you send me and Cicely the best practices because we still haven't gotten it yet?
Okay, Braden, you want to copy that to me, and that way I'll have it for sure.
What's the best email? Did we not get that? I thought we had that
send
sent
it.
over.
But if you want to just send it to Dan Hilsman at Yahoo, well, you can send it to Dan Hilsman at Yahoo, and then Keena, what's your email? We'll knock this out right now.
Yeah, you got mine, but I'll put it here.
Yeah, put it in the chat. All right, we won't go anywhere. Hang on, Kathleen. Don't click us off yet.
Dan Hilsman at Yahoo, and then
then KEENA at KEENA realtor.com. It's in the chat, but Keena at KeenaRealtor.com. And then copy it to her agent in what am I trying to say? Cohort. To her agent in crime, Cicely. So CICELYO real estate at gmail.com. There you go. Or copy and paste from the chat.
I like that, agent in crime.
There you go. There you go, buddies. Agent in crime.
There you go.
Yeah, we just
all right, I just got that sent over to you guys. Can y'all just double check, make sure you got it from me? And then
might actually keep it this time since you sent it to me like 5 times. And put it in a file, just like I should do. I'm gonna follow the process, so I'm gonna put it in a file, and then when somebody asks me, I'll have it in the file.
Got it.
Okay, great.
Got it.
Yeah, I got it. All right, happy Friday. I got a beach to go.
All right, guys, y'all have a great weekend. Appreciate y'all jumping on.
All right, see ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Braden.
Hey, Marcy. Thank you for hopping on the webinar today with Braden Kinder, James Massey, and myself. What I'd like for you to do, if you want to, is hop on my calendar for about a 10-15 minute. I block off 20 minutes on the call, but it's usually like 5-10 minute call, a strategy call. Be happy to answer any questions, tell you exactly how the program works, tell you about the free version, the low cost version, and well, it's the no cost. I don't like saying free, but no cost version, low cost version, and then how we can help you with consistent lead flow, consistent, predictable closings, adding about 1 to 2 closings additional to what you're doing a month to your pipeline. It's very realistic. A lot more to the program than we talked about today in the meeting. We also have weekly trainings. We have one-on-one. We have call groups. We have anything and everything you need to help you to be successful in this market and just to thrive. So give me a call, you can give me a call, 678-907-1853, or hop on my calendar. You can scan the QR code or just go to dansleadsclass.com/call. Schedule a call. Happy to talk to you, see if I can help you in your real estate business, and glad to help you any way I can. So hop on my calendar or give me a call. Talk to you soon.